You want to learn how to speak the language?
Your goal is communication. Then FLR is the solution.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, as I said last week, every week I will post up a Japanese lesson for those of you who are learning Japanese. So we're basically learning together. Okay? So today we're going to talk about the te form. All right? Last week was what? The masuke. Today is teke, and last week was masuke. So, as you can see here, we have te kara, te iru, te aru, te mo ii, te mo kamawanai, te miru, te shimau, te oku. Alright, so those are all the te forms. Now, te kara, I mentioned before, this means after something's done. For example, we say hanashite kara, after I speak. Sotsugyo shite kara, after I graduate. Tabete kara, after I eat, etc. Te iru is basically present progressive ongoing. So, for example, you say benkyou shiteiru, I'm studying. Now, I should mention that te iru is the same as te imasu, benkyou shiteimasu, tabete imasu. It's just less formal. Okay? So, te iru, benkyou shiteiru, tabete iru, asondeiru. Okay? Next one, te aru means something has been done. Right? Like the door has been closed. The class has been canceled. Te aru, te arimasu. Alright? Te mo ii, that one is it's okay if this happens. Or if it's in a negative, it's you don't have to do this. Like today I don't have to go to work, today I don't have to go to school. If it's positive, then it's even if I do this, it's okay. So if I say Nihongo de hanashite mo ii desu ka? Is it okay if I speak in Japanese? So te mo ii, even if I do that, will it be okay? Will it be good? Te mo kamawanai. That means it does. Even if you do it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you do this. It doesn't matter if you do that. Te miru means to try. To try and do something. Te shimau, which we talked about last week, you have two meanings of this word. Te shimau is, let's see, the first meaning will be something done completely. You've completely done something. That's te shimau. The second meaning is something happened and you feel embarrassed about it. Te shimau. And then the last one, te oku, that means to do something in advance before the time comes. Okay, next year I have to take the JLPT, so I had better prepare in advance. That's te oku or te okimasu. Alright, so let's move on to the example sentences. The first one. Takusan no sashimi ga nokkotte taberu bakkari ni natteiru kara gyuniku o tabenai de sashimi o tabete shimau koto ni shimashita. Kano nara ikutsuka no gyuniku o tabete mimasu. Takusan no sashimi ga nokotte taberu bakkari ni natteiru kara gyunyu o tabenai de sashimi o tabete shimau koto ni shimashita. Kano nara ikutsuka no gyunyu o tabete mimasu. Alright, so translation. Takusan no sashimi ga nokotte, there's a lot of sashimi left over. There's a lot of sashimi left over. And taberu bakkari ni natteiru kara, there's nothing to do with it but eat it. We have no choice but to eat that leftover sashimi, or I have no choice but to eat the leftover sashimi. Therefore, gyuniku o tabenai de, So instead of eating the gyuniku, the beef, instead of eating that, sashimi o tabete shimau koto ni shimashita. I decided to completely eat the sashimi. I decided to completely eat the sashimi. So, let's break this down. Break it down, break it down. Okay, so takusan no sashimi. So takusan is a lot. Takusan no sashimi, a lot of sashimi. Whenever you use takusan, you have to use the no because it's always used with the noun, which in this case is sashimi. So takusan no sashimi, a lot of sashimi ga nokote. So there's a lot of leftover sashimi. Nokote from nokoru. Nokoru means leftover, something that's left over. So nokote, a lot of it, and as we mentioned before, te nokote is and, is like a lot of it is left over, and taberu bakari ni natteiru kara. So taberu bakari. Now, this bakari has several meanings, but let's focus on the meaning used here. This means when you don't have a choice, like there's nothing to do with this but that, which in this case taberu bakari, there is nothing to do with it but eat it. Taberu bakari ni natteiru. So it came to that. It came to the point of just to the point of not having a choice but to eat it. Ni natteiru kara. So taberu bakari ni natteiru kara. So because it came to that point, gyunyu, beef, o tabenai de. See, tabenai de, that means instead of eating the beef. So taberu, which is to eat, when you say tabenai de, that means instead of. Tabenai de, instead of, not eating, or literally not eating and. So tabenai de, instead of eating that gyuniku, sashimi o tabete shimau koto ni shimashita. Sashimi o tabete, so te shimau right here. So tabete, you need to put the verb in the te form, which is in this case is taberu. Tabete shimau koto ni shimashita. So koto ni shimashita, that means decided in the past. And then your te shimau, okay? Te shimau, you tabete shimau, completely eat it. So when you use koto ni suru, you have to put the previous verb in the plain form, which in this case is shimau, tabete shimau, decided to eat it all. Kano nara, so kano means possible. Kano, and then nara means if. So if possible, ikutsuka no gyuniku. Ikutsuka. Now, ikutsuka means some. When you use this, just like takusan, you have to add the no. Takusan no gyuniku. A lot of beef. O tabete mimasu. So, tabete mimasu, te mimasu, which we had here, which means to try. So, you put the verb in te form, which in this case is taberu, tabete, and then add shimau. I'm sorry, te mimasu. What am I talking about? So that means to try and eat that. Okay, there you have it. That's the whole breakdown of the first sentence. I hope that makes sense to you guys. All right, so let's move on to the next one. 私は今日仕事に行かなくてもいいので、うちでずっと言語を学んでばっかり予定です。私は今日仕事に行かなくてもいいので、うちでずっと言語を学んでばかり予定です。So translation, today I don't have to go to work, so I plan to study languages at home the entire time. Today I don't have to work, so today I don't have to work, so I plan to study languages at home the entire time. Okay, so let's break this down. So watashi wa kyou, so I, subject, being the subject, wa kyou, today, shigoto is the job, kyou shigoto ni ikanakute mo ii no de, so to, in the direction to the job, ikanakute mo ii no de. So, as I mentioned before, this is, first of all, it's te mo ii, okay, even if this happens, it's okay. But when it's in the negative, like we have here, ikanai, you put ikanai in the plain negative, ikanai, and you add kute. Now remember I told you guys last week, when you have, like when you want to use and for any of the words ending with e, you have to drop the e and add kute. Which in this case, ikanai, we dropped off the e, add kute, and now we have mo e. or I should say when you want to get the te form. To put the E adjective or any word ending with E in the te form, you have to drop off the E and add kute. So we needed to do that here to make it te mo ii. So ikanakute mo ii no de. Okay, ikanakute mo ii no de. So you don't have to do this. So in this case, don't have to. Even if, so it's like, it's basically even if I don't go, or even if I don't go, it's okay because I don't have to do it. So ikanakute mo ii no de. No de means because or so. Uchi de, at home. Zutto, which means all the way or the entire time. Gengo o manande bakari yote desu. So gengo, of course, is the language, and then o manande bakari. Now here's this bakari here. This is another meaning for bakari. Now this time it means just or nothing but. I don't think I translated that right the first time. I think I left it out, but I plan to do nothing but study languages the entire time. So bakari is you're doing one thing and that's it. So you put the verb in the, manande, you put basically in the te form and then add bakari. So manande bakari. So nothing but studying. That's it. And what is the object? It's the languages. So manande bakari yote desu. Yote, that means plan. You have the plan. Desu. Alright, makes sense? Okay, we move on. Third example. See. Okay, here we go. クラスが取り消してありましたから、うちで言語の勉強をし続けようと思っています。クラスが取り消してありましたから、うちで言語の勉強をし続け、OK、言語の勉強をし続けようと思っています。Okay. Okay. This, I just noticed something. Now, I'm going to explain to you guys. This is something you need to pay attention to. Now, I used O here. Let me explain this. Let me explain what I did here first. As you can see, I use shi tsuzukeyo to omote. Shi tsuzukeru. Now, I use O. Now, you can use O, but you can't use it in the case of when it's a verb. Like, for example, gengo no benkyo, that means the studies, the language studies. Okay? So this benkyo here is a noun. Alright? Because it's referring to the languages. So gengo no benkyo, the language studies. O tsuzukeyo to omote imasu. So it shouldn't be a she here. There shouldn't be a she here because this is a noun. Now, if I did use that, if I want to say continue studying, then I will add the she. I would say benkyo shi tsuzukeyo to omote imasu. But I have to say, I got to drop off the no and put gengo o benkyo shi tsuzukeyo to omote imasu. I hope that makes sense. If you want to use the shi tsuzukeru, it has to be a verb. In this case, it's not a verb. Why? Because I have no here, and I'm referring to the gengo, which will be the languages. So gengo no benkyo, that means the language studies. But if you want to say continue studying, you drop off the gengo, you drop off the no and add o, so the o will go here, and then you add the she. The she will go in the o's place. Benkyo shi tsuzukeyo to omote imasu. So this was my mistake. I shouldn't have O here. I shouldn't have an O here, but I hope you guys understood what I just explained. Benkyo shi tsuzukeyo to omote imasu. Oh, let me drop off this. Hold on. Shi. Gengo no benkyo. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Another mistake. O is supposed to stay there because it's a noun. So gengo no benkyo o tsuzukeyo to omote imasu. Continue. I'm thinking about continuing my language studies. So she should be knocked off here. Okay, that's it. Just take off the she because this benkyo is a noun, not a verb. Alright? So, I hope that makes sense. let's see what we have next. Okay. Oh, I have to translate this, of course. Duh. I'm going too fast here. I have to slow down. Okay, so let me translate this. I'm going a little too fast. Alright, so the class was canceled. So I'm thinking about continuing my language studies at home. The class has been canceled, so I'm thinking about continuing my language studies at home. So, class is the class. Class ga torikeshite arimashita kara. So, torikeshite from torikesu, which means to cancel. Okay? So, the class ga torikeshite arimashita. So, we are using te aru. So, you need to put the verb in the te form, which in this case, torikesu becomes torikeshite. And then arimashita kara. Right? Because it has been canceled. Therefore, uchide, at home or in the home. Gengo no benkyo. Gengo no benkyo will be the language studies. Oh! That O should stay there. Tsuzukeyo tomoteimasu. So tsuzukeyo. Now tsuzukeru, which means to continue. Now the yo tomoteimasu, I explained last week what that was about. Basically, tsuzukeru, you drop off the ru, and that yo tomoteimasu, and you get thinking about doing that. So in this case, I'm thinking about continuing to do whatever it is it's saying here in the sentence, which in this case is the language studies. All right. I hope this is clear to you guys. I think I posted another video talking about the yo tomoteimasu. All right. Okay, we're moving along. All right. Oops. That. Okay. Let's see. 実は友達が日本語を習うのは難しすぎるので一生懸命勉強しても構わないって言ったからもう日本語を勉強しませんよ。実は友達が日本語を習うのは難しすぎるので Let me see. すぎるので一生懸命勉強しても構わないって構わないって構わないって言ったからもう日本語を勉強しませんよ。Okay, I noticed something else. I should keep. Where is that marker? Okay, so nai te. Oh, okay, that was right. Okay, never mind. All right. So translation. All right. So my friend. See, this is. Let's see. This should be. Okay. Let me start from the end. Translate from the end. So, I don't study Japanese anymore because my friend said that even if I do study Japanese hard, it doesn't matter because it is too difficult to learn it. My friend said that it's too difficult to learn Japanese, therefore it doesn't matter. Therefore, even if I do study it hard, even if I do study hard, it doesn't matter. Just because of the simple fact that it's difficult to him. That's what he said. Okay? So let's break this down. So, jitsuwa, that means actually. Jitsuwa, tomodachi is friend, ga, nihongo o narau no wa, to learn the Japanese language, muzukashi sugiru no de, muzukashi is difficult. Muzukashi sugiru, that means this is excessive, so it's too difficult. Muzukashi sugiru no de, so it's too difficult, or because of the fact that it's too difficult, Isshoukeme, that means study, that means very diligent, study hard. Isshoukeme, benkyou shite mo kamawanai. Now, benkyou shite mo, now we're talking about temo kamawanai now, which is, even if you do such and such, it won't matter. It doesn't matter if you do this, it don't matter if you do that, which in this case, it doesn't matter if you study hard. Benkyou shite mo kamawanai. It doesn't matter if you study hard. Nai te ita. This te ita here, that means it's referring to my friend. He said. You see that? Nai te ita. He said. Kara. Therefore. Therefore, mo already nihongo o benkyou shimasen. So already don't study Japanese. Now, whenever you have a negative with mo, it means not anymore. Okay? So in this case, benkyou shimasen, don't study anymore because my friend said that. Make sense? All right. Moving on. Let's see. Where are we? We're here. Okay, this is one whole sentence, isn't it? Wow. Yep, it sure is. So, 2ヶ月前に日本に行った時はいろいろな日本のレストランに excuse me 勤めたり特別な教科書を使ったりよく日本人に会ったりして日本語を勉強したから今までは日本語を喋るのはすでに慣れています。今、let me see. 今、oh yes, what did I do here? Okay, so 今、韓国語, see, I'm missing 国語. So you should say 今、韓国語にも興味があって韓国語を習うのは同じことをしたいので今から勉強し始めておかなくてはいけませんよ。So this should be, see, I have kan but not kan, 国語 should be 今韓国語. I left it out. My mistake. Alright? So, let me translate this. So 2 months ago, when I went to Japan, let's see. I worked for various restaurants. Okay, let me start this over because this is a complicated sentence here. All right. 2 months ago, when I went to Japan, I learned Japanese by the following things. Various restaurants I worked for. I used special textbooks, and I often met with Japanese people. Therefore, up until this point, I'm already used to speaking Japanese. Now I am also interested in Korean, and in order to learn Korean, I want to do the same thing. So from here on, I have to begin studying Korean in advance. Before that time comes, I have to begin studying it. Okay. Now this was a really complicated sentence because of the particles used here, the constructions tari suru, and it's probably a little strange because I said 2 months ago I went to Japan, blah blah blah. So maybe, but this is just for practice, so it doesn't matter. So 2ヶ月前に, so 2ヶ月, that's 2 months. Okay, when you're counting months, you have to use the ka. 何ヶ月, when someone asks you how many months, 何ヶ月日本語 or 何ヶ月日本に住みましたか? How many months did you live in Japan? When you reply, if it's 2 months, 2ヶ月, you have to use the ka when counting months. So 2ヶ月前に, 2 months ago, 日本にいた時. So when I went to Japan, so in the direction of Japan, 行った is went, toki is when. Toki wa いろいろな various 日本のレストランに Japanese restaurants に勤めたり. Now tsutome from tsutomeru means to work for. Okay, that means to work for someone. So various Japanese restaurants worked for Tokubetsu na kyokasho. Tokubetsu means special. So Tokubetsu na kyokasho is special textbooks. O tsukattari, used. Okay. Yoku nihonji ni attari. Yoku is often. So yoku nihonji ni attari, to meet. I often met with Japanese people, so when you want to meet with someone, meet with anyone, you have to put that person in ni and then add ao. So Nihonjin ni attari shite Nihongo o benkyou shita. So Nihongo o benkyou shita, I learned Japanese, or I studied Japanese. Sorry, benkyou shita. So shite. Now, when you use tari tari suru, there. Let me see. Okay, when you use tari tari suru, let me explain the one I used here. Tari tari shite, and then whatever, what happened. So in this case, I learned Japanese by doing such and such. Tari tari suru is basically naming things you did in the past. Like in this case, when I was in Japan, I worked for the restaurant, I used various textbooks, I met with Japanese people. Those would be tari tari. So when you use tari tari, you have to put the verb in the plain past, ta, and then just add e. Okay, and after you get done naming those things, then you have to put shite, and then Nihongo wo benkyou shimashita, because that's what you did to learn Japanese, to study Japanese. So you can't just say tari tari tari, then Nihongo wo benkyou shimashita. I mean, they will understand what you're saying, but you need to, grammatically it's incorrect. You need to have shite. So tari tari shite and Nihongo wo benkyou shita. Now, there's another instance where if you just want to name things, say, okay, we did shopping. When I was in Japan, we went to various Japanese restaurants. We went to universities and met with Japanese people. That's it. That'd be tari tari shimashita. You don't need to say tari tari shite and whatever, because you've already listed those things there. Alright? Don't worry about it. Tari tari is coming soon. I'll explain it more, show you guys some example sentences, and it will become more clear. So that's what happened here. So all those things listed, that's how I study Japanese. So, shita kara, therefore, imamare wa, up until this point, up until now, Nihongo wo shaberu no wa. So, shaberu means to speak. Is another way of saying speak. So, Nihongo wo shaberu no wa, to speak the Japanese, sure ni. Sure ni means already. Sure ni, already, narete imasu. That means to be accustomed to. I'm already accustomed to speaking Japanese. Why? Because when I went to Japan, that's how I learned Japanese. I worked at the restaurant, met Japanese people, used special textbooks. Ima, now, Kangokugo should be now Korean ni, in that Korean language. Mo, also. Now, also in the Korean language. Kyomi ga atte. Kyomi here means interest. So, kyomi ga atte, I have the interest. And, see, aru atte, that means to have. And, Kangokugo o narau no wa, to learn this Korean language. Onaji koto. Onaji koto means the same thing, the same matter. Which in this case, going to like how I did when I learned Japanese. I went to Japan and did those following things. I want to do the same thing for Korean. So, onaji koto o shitai. So, I want to do those things. Suru becomes shitai because you want to do. Shitai no de, because I want to do those things, or so, I want to do those things. So, ima kara, from now on, ima kara benkyou shi hajimete. See, benkyou shi hajimete we talked about before. You have benkyou shi plus hajimete means to begin doing, to begin studying. So benkyou shi hajimete oku. See, now we're to te oku, which means to do in advance. So you need to put the verb in the te form at oku. So te okanakute wa ikemasen. Have to do it in advance. Now, when you say you have to do something, you have to take that verb and put it in a plain negative. After you put it in a plain negative, drop off the e and then add nakute wa ikemasen. That's it. And that's what we did with here. Te oku, we changed it to te okanai because that's the plain negative. Then we dropped off the e and then added nakute wa ikemasen. That's it. That's all you do. All right? Hope that's clear. So in this sentence we had te oku. That's our key form there. Te oku. Okay. Last one. Now in this one here we have what? Te kara. This is where we use te kara. So we've used all of the te forms now. except for te kara. The first one on the list, the last one in the example sentences. So, let me read it. 実際、ちょっと前、誰かと日本について話して、日本語を習うのは卒業してから日本に行こうと思っています。実際、ちょっと前、誰かと日本について話して、日本語を習うのは卒業してから日本に行こうと思っています。Translation: as a matter of fact, I just spoke with someone. I just spoke with someone about Japan, and in order to in order to learn Japanese, after graduation, I'm thinking about going to Japan. I'm thinking about going to Japan after graduation. So honestly, I just spoke to someone about Japan, and in order to learn Japanese, I'm thinking about going to Japan after graduation. Breakdown: Jisai means honestly. Okay, Jisai, honestly. Chotomai means just a minute ago. Chotomai, just a minute ago. Dareka. Dareka means someone or somebody. Dareka to, with someone. Nihon ni tsuite. Nihon ni tsuite, that means concerning Japan, about. This works with any noun, okay? When you want to say concerning this about, you add ni after the noun and tsuite. So, Nihon ni tsuite, about Japan. Hanashite, spoke about Japan. And, there's that te again. Hanashite, spoke. And, Nihongo o narau no wa, to learn Japanese. Sotsugyou shite kara, there's our te kara, after something happens, which in this case, sotsugyou shite kara, sotsugyou suru. Te kara, after I graduate. Sotsugyou shite kara, Nihon ni, in the direction of Japan, ikou to omotte imasu. So here's another construction like before. Yo to omotte imasu. I'm thinking about going. Ikou to omotte imasu. Alright? So there you have it. That's our lesson for this week on the te forms. Alright? So, as I always say, you guys need to, when you learn these, anything you learn, you need to use them right away. It's very important to practice these constructions on someone, particularly a native speaker. So I will advise you guys to make up your own sentences using these constructions and try to practice them on someone. Now, if you make mistakes, that's fine. That's part of the process. It's not a problem. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Okay? Because eventually you're going to learn, you get used to them. I made a lot of mistakes before too. When I first started with the Japanese, the grammar was so confusing. I was messing up with particles and just a lot of stuff. So, alright. So that's it. Let me know if you guys have any other questions. Let me know if you guys have seen any mistakes here. Other than that, till next time, I look forward to you guys' comments or video responses. Thanks for viewing.